Viewers have spoken.
We start with Lakers drama. Oh, the preseason. A time to sow the seeds of team unity that will sprout flowers come spring. Here's Mr. I haven't missed the playoffs in 4 years, starting a nice team huddle. Russ said, I'd rather not. Now, granted, there's another view of this. We're like, no, Russ was actually talking to the bench. Yeah, you guys are looking for, Russ hatred where there is none. Perhaps. But that's why we're asking Mr. Broussard, is this something or nothing, bro?
Well, like you said, we don't know everything that this is representing, but it looks like something.
Yeah.
Okay? But I have a different take on why it's something than I think Nick will have.
Okay.
Look, I'm sure it bothers Russ that Patrick Beverley, who hasn't been half the player that Russ has been historically.
10%.
And has been there for all of, 2 weeks, is coming in there acting like he's Isaiah Thomas, like the bad boy Pistons leader, right? Yeah. Getting everybody
LeBron
together.
did go over.
Sure,
it's like,
LeBron was listening. Yeah, LeBron was listening. But I'm sure that rubs him the wrong way. But that's not the big deal. This is bigger than that. This episode, Nick, is a harbinger of what's to come. And what it is that Russell Westbrook is not built to be a role player. And that's what they're asking him to be. Last night, in 25 minutes, he took 3 shots. They want Russ to be a role player, and I think he's sincere. I think he's going to try. I think he's going to say the right things, but it is not in him. He doesn't have the mentality, the makeup, or to be honest, even the skill set. Yeah, he doesn't. And so where it's going to come out, Nick, is things like this: body language, facial expressions, size, and I'm going to give you an example that both of you this will drive the point home. If you were all of a sudden asked by the producers, you know what, Nick, just moderate. Just introduce the topics. Don't let Chris and Wilds handle the debate, giving their opinions.
That.
You just drop the topic
as
off.
an idea.
I don't even know if you try, but maybe you try for the goodness of the show.
Myself,
right.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
Even if you wanted to, you couldn't
do it.
And that's what Russell Westbrook is. He can't. Yeah. Like Allen Iverson couldn't.
No.
And that's what they're going to. This is a harbinger of things to come in L.A.
Listen. So it's something on every level.
Every level.
On every level, it's something. First of all, Patrick Beverley, stop.
What?
Being
a good leader?
Hold on a second here. Sometimes it is recognizing your surroundings and sometimes managing up and managing down. And I don't know who made Patrick Beverley a manager, but he made himself one. And if you have any self-awareness whatsoever, you recognize, you know what? Let me, if I'm going to, at the end of the season, be the guy getting everyone together. Let's slowly dip our toes in the pool. Let's slowly build some team chemistry. Let's build some team unity. Not in the preseason already be barking at guys about defensive assignments and huddling up. So, Nick, why did LeBron and Anthony Davis listen? Because LeBron and Anthony Davis have 2 things going for him. Russ does not right now. One is they are so far and away not only historically better players than Patrick Beverley, but still currently so much more valuable and important and better players than Patrick Beverley that they can almost play. They can, what's the word? Where you not play a charade's the wrong word, but
it's not a big deal.
Exactly right. They can pay lip service to it. Right. Okay, Pat, whatever you want. The other thing is Patrick Beverley's not coming for any of their minutes. Patrick Beverley's not coming for any of their shots. Not coming for anything. Patrick Beverley, so it's something that Beverley is going to get on everybody's nerves, and while LeBron might be able to deal with it in a preseason game that doesn't really matter, let him bark at LeBron in the 4th quarter of a game that does matter and see how it works.
And he will, probably.
Of course he will, because he thinks every team is the Timberwolves, where he also thinks he is the reason the Timberwolves made the leap, not Anthony Edwards. Because he's just totally delusional about where he is. But here's the other thing that's a problem, because what Bruce said is correct. And Russell Westbrook, while he's been a professional and he's been a good soldier throughout this, does not want to be there. Nobody wants to be somewhere they are not wanted or somewhere they are not needed. And I don't think Russell Westbrook thought he was going to end up starting the year with the Lakers. But he is going to end up starting the year with the Lakers. And the last point, Wiles, I think it's something is, I think it is really important that the Lakers not get off to a brutal start. And their first handful of games, Warriors, Clippers, Blazers, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Nuggets again, New Orleans.
Wow. Wow.
That's
risky.
now
That
the
could be-
West as a whole is brutal, but that could be 2-5. That could be 1-6.
Yes.
Like if
Portland's like the only one in there,
Portland's
I'm
the
like,
only one in
okay.
there that you are certain the Lakers are better than. Portland's the only one in there you're certain the Lakers are better than. And this whole idea from the Lakers front office is, oh, we're going to try this, and then if it doesn't work, we're going to pull the ripcord. We all know they're eventually going to pull the ripcord. And you're going to wait 2 weeks, you're going to wait 6 weeks. I don't know how long you're going to wait, but by the time you do, you're going to be starting from a disadvantaged position. Because not only will you already be behind the standings, not only will you have to build team chemistry on the fly, but these moments of learning to deal with Patrick Beverley and learning to play together with whomever is going to replace Russell Westbrook could have been done in the preseason. Instead, they're going to be done when you're already in 9th place. And so it's just incredibly frustrating.
So here's the other piece of video that struck my fancy. I was like, what's going on here with Russ? I know there's an intensity to Russ, but this Jaden McDaniels play here, bro, a little push. They were kind of battling for the rebound. Like, all right, a little bit too much. Russ gets back. Like, okay, now just let's go. I'm like, no. This is early on in the game, and I know it's like it's just weird. It struck me as weird, Broussard.
It's the frustration coming out. Look, he's saying the right thing. He wants to do the right thing. He can't. Yeah. He just can't. And it's going to come out in various ways. All right? The huddle, just silly stuff like this, sitting on the bench, not paying attention, size when Beverly takes a crazy shot and Russ is on the bench, like signifying to everybody, like, you believe they're playing him over me? Like, that's what it's going to come out in ways like this.
With some consistency, though, he did put up a horrible three-pointer that went off the back rim of the back.
Well, that's the other. Just from a
he ain't even built to be a role
from a pure basketball perspective, it also doesn't make sense. The idea, Patrick Beverley is a bad shooter. Okay, I understand you look at his numbers like, oh, he's not terrible. 100% of his shots in his career has been wide open. And last year he was a bad three-point shooter despite that. We know Russ is a bad shooter. Anthony Davis is coming off a year shooting 18% from three. Now, luckily, they say that he said his wrist was an issue. We'll see if he gets back to what he was a couple of years ago. But there's basketball reasons that this is going to be a problem. But the non-basketball reasons are just so obvious and glaring. And it is shout out to Pelinka for his freshly minted extension, but it is baffling to me that they have not. They are going to try to run this thing back with the minor tweak.
I like that. To Pelinka, from Pelinka. Let's look good. Sign there.
And here's the other thing. If Russ could be a role player, right? If he's fine setting screens, running, back cuts and just running the floor. If he were good with all that and the body language wasn't bad, guess what? He's not Russell Westbrook. You're not getting the benefit of having him there.
Right.
You might as well be playing Austin Reeves because he's probably a better role player than Russ is.
I know, but that's where I think they're at. Let's check in on the Fox Bet odds for the Lakers championship. Currently at number 7. It's 1,300. Nick, do you think it's more likely the Lakers win a title or miss the playoffs, which they're going to do?
Okay. Well, I'll be very clear. I am not picking either of these things to happen. I do not think the Lakers are going to miss the playoffs, and I obviously do not think they're going to win the title. Okay. But if I'm forced to, if you're telling me one of those two things is going to happen, then I'll say win the title, because some things would have to happen. They'd have to trade Russ. Anthony Davis and LeBron would have to stay healthy, right? Those are the things that would have to happen. I believe LeBron's going to play more than 60 games this year. I don't think LeBron's going to suffer another injury. Anthony Davis, that's a coin flip. He's saying the right things.
Can I push back on the LeBron?
Sure.
How many games he's going to play? Do you think there's going to be built-in days for him to take off, like injury prevention days?
Yes, I think LeBron is going to go through this year without suffering a significant injury. I think that people are assuming he will. I'm not going to act like it's a lock that he won't. Injuries obviously happen. But I also don't think he's a guy whose body is breaking down. I think he's a guy who has not recovered from injuries as quickly as he did as in his youth, which was instantaneous almost. But I have seen the Lakers win the title with LeBron and Anthony Davis and role players. Well, I have proof of concept of it. And it wasn't I understand everyone says, oh, it was the bubble. Fine. But they had the best record in the West before the bubble. They ran through the playoffs. And the very next year, with the same team mostly, they had the best record in the West before LeBron got hurt. So I know that can work. I don't think the Lakers are going to be a disaster again the way they were last year because, A, I don't think LeBron and AD are going to get hurt, Brew, and B, I think they aren't going to try to keep hitting their head against the wall with Russ. So because of that, if I'm forced to choose between the two, I would say they win the title. They still have 2 of the 10 best players in the sport.
I don't hate your answer. All right, I'm like you. I'm not picking either. I think they make the playoffs, and I think they get beat in the playoffs, don't get to the finals. But I'm going to go with more likely to miss the playoffs because I'm not believing, I hate to say it, that they're going to stay healthy. I hope they do. Anthony Davis, after weeks of saying, I want to play all 82 games, missed the second preseason game with back.
Games.
Yeah, but still, it was a back injury. He was supposed to play. Hours before the game, Darvin Ham thinks he's playing, and then he has lower back pain. All right, LeBron, Nick, this is age. The age isn't showing in his production.
In his performance, correct.
It's showing in the injuries. 3 of his 4 seasons in LA, he's had a significant injury. The one he didn't, they had 3-4 months off. Same thing goes for Anthony Davis, but they had 3-4 months off, and he was able to play the whole year. So I think an injury is probably likely to one of their top 2 players. And then, Nick, they have no shooting. I know it's preseason, but they're shooting 29% from 3. All right, that would have been dead last in the league last year. They were 22nd last year. So I don't think they can guard these younger athletic teams. So I don't think I think it's more likely they miss the playoffs.
Quickly, where do you think Russ goes if they make a move?
I think the trade Brew's been talking about forever is Indiana. I think he's right. I just thought when it comes, you also were going to say miss the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I think.
I think right now there are.
You think they're going to?
I think they're going to miss. Yeah,
See,
well, that's not fun to talk about. Yeah, LeBron played 56 games. AD played 40. I'm just nervous about them, but I don't want to.
I think there's 4. I think there's only 4 teams in the West that we can say definitively are better than them. The Clippers, the Warriors, the Mavs, and the Nuggets. Those 4. Then there's another 4 that to me are in the same group.
Not definitive?
To me, the Grizzlies are not definitively better. I think Grizzlies, Pelicans, T-Wolves, and Suns are in the same group as the Lakers. The Suns, I know they won 65 games. I think they had a really rough offseason. I want to see how it starts for these teams. The Grizzlies are a team, it wouldn't be shocking if the Grizzlies have a similar, not as dramatic, but step back like Atlanta did last year, where it's like, wow, that's great, and then you take a slight step back. Like that would be.
I can't see that.
I'm not saying they're going to do what Atlanta did and miss the playoffs, but I'm not ready to pencil the Grizzlies.
Yeah, you're out. I'm back in on Ja. I got one guy.
I got Ja.
I got one guy.
Ja's his guy.
Is there another QB?